feel like you've hit a brick wall? Are your kids glued to their devices? Welcome to Ratio Parents and Carers. I am Yaz, and I created Ratio Academy, the online video course, along with my family just for you. Ratio promises to reignite your family by finding a balance between devices and fun using my top secret formula, and I'll be with you every step of the way. We all know it's an acceptable form of entertainment for both kids and adults, but have you realised how much damage it's causing their eyes, concentration and behaviour? And every time you attempt to coax them off their console, smartphone or tablet, you have a mutiny on your hands. Well, don't worry. With my secret formula, they won't even miss their devices. Our motto here at Ratio is nudge, don't judge. Hence, you can look up all the extreme dangers of watching their device screens by yourself. Because this course is about empowering parents and carers to have fun and connect with your family, not putting you guys down. And you just might get sick of hearing the motto throughout the course. But bear with me, nudge, don't judge is a good motto. We are all in this together. I promise to entertain you with my true stories along the way. So please, when you join the course, sign the agreement promising to be extra kind to both your family and fellow families, as there will be a huge amount of interaction throughout the many stages of the course. But let's be straight, it's not at all wrong to use devices. Ratio, I would like to have the honour of walking you through our unique one-of-a-kind 5-week course to experience a new togetherness, a connection through fun. And I have a few fun free gifts at the very end. But there's lots of fun involved, and it stems from you guys, reigniting your family flame, so to speak. But there's a catch. Parents, carers, grandparents, aunties, uncles, you're going to have to lose the kids. I'm going to give you a little time to distract them, because if they happen to watch or overhear the webinar, it'll spoil it all. By now, we should be just left with adults. Are you kid-free? To sign up, there are 4 secret ingredients. You need a positive attitude, always, an imagination to involve each member of the family, and we need to create the element of surprise. We need the kids not to be aware of the purpose of the course for the first 5 days. We must build up momentum. We must build up momentum towards our surprise secret ingredient, your family fun. We all know if we did try and prize our kids' devices out of their little hands, we will cause a tantrum at the very least. We do not wish any happiness lost. No, we don't want that. To avoid a mutiny, we're going to use our imagination. I'll run quickly through the whole course in just a minute. But first, I'll tell you little about me and why my family and I decided to create Ratio just for you. I was left to raise 6 children by myself, aged 4 to 14, which might not have been so bad if I hadn't been diagnosed with heart disease 3 years previously, after spending 2 months in hospital. Their dad had spent most of his time in his computer room playing GTA and Tomb Raider, so it wasn't much of a surprise when he left. I know if he actually understood how much pain I was in, he wouldn't have left, but I also knew he wasn't happy. But I, for the most of the day, was in immense pain, and breathing was difficult. In 2002, I was given just 5 short years to live. My consultant's words echoed through my head: hearts don't heal. Things could not get any worse. I was responsible for 6 little souls. How did we survive? How did I survive? I chose not to believe a word he said. And it obviously worked because I'm still here. I booked Disney, Florida, for all of us. It's the kind of thing you do in an emergency when you're told you're going to die. And by sheer accident, I found out that while I was there, I didn't experience one symptom of heart disease. I could breathe. I wasn't in any pain. I could have fun with the kids, visit the theme parks, and most of all, enjoy myself. It felt like the breathlessness and pain were a distant nightmare. Disney wasn't just magical. Disney had been a miracle. But as soon as I landed back home, every symptom came back, and being 2 weeks without any somehow had made matters worse. As soon as we arrived back, we booked a holiday. And the pattern followed for each year after, so I could have a window free of pain and suffering. How did I cope with the kids, I hear you ask? Well, here's the thing. It was extremely hard. I had to think out of the box. Be one step ahead of each of them and each combination of them, and keep them away from sugar and additives unless they were near a park. I analysed them. I took parenting classes, studied child psychology and psychology, but I had come up empty. They had no solutions for me. Nobody seemed to be in my situation. Nobody seemed to be able to help. I wasn't going to give up, not on my kids. They didn't deserve to be put in a home, or taken away or split up. I had to think fast. I had to believe in myself and somehow deny the pain and breathlessness. My house was a mess. As embarrassing as it was, a couple of times I had to call friends and family to help. I just couldn't do it by myself. But now I've made it, and of course the 6 kids. They each have their very own unique speciality, and I have 2 on the autism spectrum, which I believe makes me a little extra qualified, as they needed very special care and the others needed not to feel left out. I'm not leaving you guys out. I haven't forgotten about your free gifts right at the end. Adani, my firstborn daughter, was and still is so headstrong and determined. She wished to be an only child and resented having 5 brothers and sisters. She did a great job back then and still does up until this day. Akina, my second-born daughter, has learning difficulties. She was often bullied and found it hard to fit in. Autistic kids have different body language and her peers were mean. She needed a lot of confidence and character building in a loving way. Kwame, my youngest daughter, had character. She hugged a lot. A content little girl who loved to climb and being active. Active meant happy to her. Whenever possible, we went to parks with trees. We called it her natural habitat, Kwame Koala. Chabe has 4 components of autism: dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD and Asperger's. He screams a lot. I thought it would stop when his voice broke, but it didn't. He's 19, he settled in college and he survived a lot. Maybe you'll learn more about him if you have an autistic kid. Kobe, he's very clever, yet forgetful. I'd like to blame the forgetfulness on him being 5 weeks premature, but who knows. I no longer react when he forgets stuff, not that I ever had. I show support and help, and I'm so glad I did, because without his technical knowledge and support, Ratio, the online course, would not have been possible. Lastly, Keo. He's adorable, cheeky, loving and caring, but he's not so great at school. Hey, I guess you can't be perfect. He brings joy to the house and he does a great job. Suddenly, it all made sense. I went through it all, worked out what makes kids tick, not just mine by the way. Before I produced Ratio, I experimented my formulas on any and every family I could find. Family friends, friends of family, and the family of friends. Even the taxi driver that took us on a long journey to the airport had a great result. I'll type the story and put it on our Facebook page. I managed by being happy. Obviously, on the inside I wasn't. I was in pain. And for the most part of the day, I was unable to breathe. I had to wing it. I had to show no fear. Pretend I had everything under control. I pretended for so long I began to believe it myself, and so did my little monsters, who, to be honest, looking back, were more like angels. It was easy in a way because I was totally grateful I was still alive, even when, countless times, my lungs had filled with fluid. Yet another heart disease symptom. I had feared for my life. In the winter months, it happened a lot. Sometimes a couple of times a day. I had to be careful, restrict my movements to a bare minimum. Can you imagine? Taking extra water tablets, which in itself is highly dangerous, so my lungs would drain, with 6 kids running around me. I had little or no help. I remembered my other secret ingredient. I began to use my imagination. I caught the kids' attention by jumping into their shoes. Yes, all 6 pairs at once, to see their perspective. Let me let you into a secret. The only way I got it right was because I made a million mistakes, so you don't have to. And my results are great. My 2 eldest daughters have both gained degrees. Adani in sports psychology a few years ago. Adani's speciality is nutrition. She's going to jump into the Ratio Advanced course to take a look at your family's diet. But don't worry, it's optional. More recently, Akina gained a degree in mental health nursing, and Key has dyslexia and dyspraxia. I feel extremely excited because each hardship I went through was not for nothing. It was so I could pass my formula on to you guys. We tweak and we empower in an imaginative way. We don't judge. Can you imagine if somebody had judged me? The annoying, distracting devices will always play a part of your lives. I can promise you, with Ratio, the online course in place, your family's top priorities will significantly change for the better. Okay, now for a quick run through the course. Module 1, week 1, will be initiation week. Here we build up the momentum via the element of surprise. Please don't forget to share your success stories on our Ratio page to empower and encourage others. Unlike other courses, our Facebook pages will have limited number of families due to the fact that we want a small community of helpful groups. The larger the group, the less personal. Plus, you guys are more likely to share experiences in smaller groups. We are family orientated. We look out for each other, nudge each other in the right direction in a supportive way. And please don't forget to include every family member in the household. I'm really looking forward to following your success stories and interactions. Sharing your photos and videos are welcomed but optional. What do you guys get? Each day of Ratio's 5-week course, you'll receive access to a new video, instruction sheet, worksheet and constant support from our friendly Facebook page. The Sunday video will be the most important, and the other videos are basically just a touch base, a nudge in the right direction. The nudges come from many directions, so you guys will be fine. The instruction sheet is basically again a nudge sheet that reflects the video and the worksheet, so you guys can't get lost. And it will explain what to put onto your whiteboards and what's expected that day. The worksheet is our way forward, small steps every day. There will be spaces for you and your family to complete by yourself. I've spent months producing the sheets to look inviting and easy to use. There will always be added bonuses, clues, games and nudges, and of course our faithful Facebook family to lean on along the way. You will also get one free email and one 15-minute call per week if you need it. Remember, we don't tell the kids about Ratio till we've added the fun. And we limit the information. We don't tell them their devices are going to take less of their time. We just tweak the ratio of time for now. It takes 30 days to change our human habits. After the 30 days, you are more than welcome to tell them if you have to. But until then, please treat Ratio like Father Christmas, a birthday celebration. We will build the momentum by expressing there's a change on the way. It's a great change. Things will never be the same. Smile and sound playful yet intriguing. Give eye contact. Capture their imagination by using yours. Yeah, you must dig yours out. But it's easy, and I'll be there to help. Any questions, add them to the Facebook page and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Once your imagination has been reactivated, there'll be no going back. And if you already use your imagination, that's great. When the time comes and you have captured your kids' attention, it's easy. It's as easy as asking some questions. And if you're not okay with that, that's fine. You can suggest that you've entered the family on a course, and to get through it, you must ask the embarrassing questions. Ask them at breakfast, ask them in the car, but please remember to write down your answers. The answers they give will lay down the foundations for Ratio. Once, as my partner had chatted to his ex, who also happened to have an autistic son, he compared the two sons' behaviours. At the time, their kids' capers were much calmer. He didn't scream or overreact, and his body language wasn't as off as Jabe's. We'll call their son Jay, because it's just not fair to call him by his real name. I couldn't make Jabe act like a regular kid. He wasn't. He acted strange and did odd things, but I loved him to bits, and all he needed was a bit more understanding, especially from his peers and teachers. His siblings had always been great with him. We had a family routine whenever my partner's 4 kids were over for the weekend or the holidays. Consoles after breakfast, lunch, out to the park, swimming, cinema, etc., dinner and homework, and lastly a movie before bed. Thinking back, even then we had a ratio. Normally my kids wouldn't have spent so much time on the console, but I decided to go with the flow. And due to the amount of kids around 8 who played on the consoles, they had to take turns. It's just a few years later and Jay's behaviour has dramatically changed. Now he attacks both his parents and even his little sister. His parents have no control over him, and my fear, and the main reason I created Ratio, is that the next generation will be full of Jays. A long time ago, I noticed how my children's behaviour had changed instantaneously after playing violent games. They would romp and play fight, and with 6 kids, a little romp quickly turned into mayhem. I had to act fast. So I decided to take them outside. Unable to walk far, I would put them in the car and drive them to the nearest park and set them free. The next day they would ask to go back on the games. I said only if you don't copy the fighting. They agreed not to fight, but within 10 minutes of playing the game, the fighting had erupted. We sat down. I calmly explained how we had a no fighting policy in the house, and being boys, if they still felt the need to fight, they could go outside and come back in when they're done. After some time had passed, they'd empowered themselves, and together we'd banned the violent games from the house. Even up to this day, the worst game they own is Star Wars, and Che bought that when he was 18. He flung the remote across the room when he'd lost a game with his friend, and banned himself from playing. The remote survived. When they were younger, they eventually refused to play games like Halo all by themselves, even at their friend's house. Their friend's parents were so impressed. One tried to coax them into playing, explaining that she wouldn't tell. Now they're grown up, and it is up to them if they play violent video games outside of the house. Outside of the house, I have no restrictions. They know what is acceptable and what is not in the house, and I have 6 extremely calm kids unless they get their hands on sugar or additives. Jay had access to the latest games, and when he brought them to the house, the boys explained that they'd been banned. And even though he had nagged for a while, he soon understood and accepted the rules. Jay had stuck to our family routine. He wanted to fit in, and as he did, he wore an enormous contagious smile upon his handsome face. Every recent photo of Jay, he looks sad. He's allowed to play on his tablet or his console all day long, and because it had become a routine, and kids with autism love to stick to a routine, he now refuses to get off. Stuck in a screen world of violence, Jay found it hard to distinguish between the two. Violence had become a way of life, just like on his Xbox or other devices. He's violent at school with the teachers and the kids too, and poor Jay smells terrible. Playing on the devices is much more fun than taking a shower. Just a few years later, Jay's behaviour had dramatically changed. His mum brought him the latest violent game for Christmas. There's nothing I can do to help. She doesn't see the connection. As a mum, she's trying to do her best from her perspective. I no longer ask how Jay's doing, and I try my best not to judge. Ratio, my online course, will stop many kids becoming like Jay, and I can live with that. Jay is not violent at all, and if he does feel the need, he has a giant punch bag to help him deal with it. He needed it years ago, but now not so much. My kids have never hit me or even sworn at me. I think they're 6 giant miracles. I am laid back, loving and empowering, and even though I've made a million mistakes, I learn quickly and bring the kids on board, empowering themselves to make good decisions, to do what's right as a family. If, after watching them, they went nuts. We even had to restrict violent kids' games like Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. I asked them to choose a more suitable channel, and they luckily quickly took the hint. Or I would repeat the no fighting policy, and if they had to fight, they would have to take it outside, while I sneakily turned the TV channel to an interesting movie. My sons have always been closer than my girls, even as the 2 younger ones grew over 6 foot and overprotect their smaller yet older brother. They are sweet. I know that their calm, sweet personalities had a little to do with me, trying my best to project a happy, calm environment. Because my mum was mean. She probably didn't understand what she was doing, but in a way, I'm glad she was hurtful and rude. As it made me feel so low, I decided to try and never be hurtful to my kids or make them sad. Once, my brother attended a foster program, and he explained that statistics had shown, on average, parents put their kids down over 6 times a day and praise them 2 to 3 times a day. Kobe smiled and said, "My mom don't." His uncle argued the point, and Kobe held his ground respectfully. It was all worth that moment. When you guys choose ratio, I promise you will have moments where you just want to wallow in them and never leave. Getting something right feels awesome, especially when back then I thought I'd got it all wrong. Here's the thing, we parents must watch what we say. They listen and they mimic our behaviour. For example, try making a minor change from "you're so silly" to "you're acting silly." Use a calm voice. Changing the word hate to a softer word such as don't like. If you feel like I've hit a raw nerve, that's okay, it's fine. It can be undone in a second. Yes, that nudge don't judge motto. Take a chance when you have all the family together. Start a conversation. "Hey kids, it seems like I have to tweak what I say too. From now on, when you're being silly, I'm going to say, stop acting silly instead of calling you silly." Ask for their feedback. Ask what do they think. They will soon open up to you. Or not. It's all up to you. I connected the dots to show you how you can have a positive impact through ratio on your family's lives. Kids love to do the right thing. They don't like to be told all the time. Empowering is great when it comes to most things. And if they are calm and feel listened to, they are more than likely to go with the flow. We need happy kids. Happy kids are easy to please. And so are happy parents, and happy kids usually have that knock-on effect. Week 2 is where the fun starts. We tweak our timetable a little and add small goals to our daily lives and have our family's hearts set on bigger ones. We learn by repetition and we have a new routine fueled by fun. As a mum, I struggled. My mind had more than enough ideas of how to bring up my 6 kids, but my body was too weak to carry them out. You guys hopefully don't have that problem. So you have a huge advantage. Step into their shoes. Be a kid. Just see what it's like. Make it fun. At Ratio, we ask to do tiny doable goals, day-to-day goals, then giant doable goals, medium-sized goals. It'll give you an idea of what they'll love to do instead of devices. Although we're not going to mention that. If they don't want to talk, reminisce about a previous great outside time. Ask if they would like to do something similar. Feel free to throw in your own ideas on our friendly Facebook page. Luckily, I already had one trick up my sleeve. You're probably going to think I'm crazy, but yet another of my ideas worked. I noticed with my little brothers and other kids, they used the word hate and mind way too much. They're not great words. So I wondered what life would be like if I didn't teach my children the words hate and mind. Obviously, they'd hear them eventually in school, but I really wanted to give it a try. Hey, why not? I thought it was kind of cool even to think about it. But here's the thing. Remember the terrible twos? Where the kids sound like seagulls from Finding Nemo? Mine, mine, mine. Well, I didn't have that. Times 6. Their terrible twos was a cinch. Hate is a horrible word and so is mine. Don't worry guys, they use it now and again, but I go with the flow. But have you ever tried not saying those 2 words just for a day as a family? I challenge you to try. It makes a great difference. Do you have words that your children use that you don't like? We play swap. We sit down, as old as they are, and we swap the word fatty, which Chabe was using way too much, to fluffy. The results were hysterical. Chabe stopped using the word fatty for months. It does slowly creep back in, but we just swap it again. Simple yet effective. The path of least resistance. Remember, each family is different. So if one family tweaks a lot and the second tweaks a little, it's totally fine. Nudge, not judge. If they have added extra fun and reconnected with their family, Ratio is working. Hang on to the end, I have a fun story to share. It's time to take a look at the elephant in the room. What are we watching and hearing? What are we subjecting our kids' eyes and ears to? The news? Does the news tell you something positive has happened and everything in the world is having a great day? So please, for Ratio's 35 days, can we switch to more positive programs and ditch the news a little for a while? With my other families, it had an instant effect. Have you thought about what songs they're listening to? My son Keo's friend was singing out loud, "Let's talk about sex, baby," to a song on the radio while we were driving home. Keo felt totally embarrassed. He'd always change the channel to inappropriate songs, but he couldn't reach. Some say it's just a song, but I wouldn't want my kids to sing that. It is inappropriate. We can have discussions on the Facebook page about such topics. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm going to say. Nudge, don't judge. Yep, in the end, I changed the radio channel. I wanted to know whether my kids were gullible or whether my unique formula worked on regular families. So I tried and tested again and again. I thankfully established the same result every time. Family fun is worth its weight in gold. Ratio is here to find that balance. I can find you a calmer balance if that's what you need. Making memories became top priority over device screens on any game. Probably not going to remember tomorrow, and it has no real value. They will get this all by themselves, but you have to put the fun first. Week 3, we take a fresh look at the way we spend our time as a family, and we tweak. Whether you want extra fun, extra goals, and inch towards them every day, here's the thing, it must be fun. By week 3, families would have experienced a transformation and a connection, and there will be no looking back. Your family's magic flame has started to reignite. And your newly empowered children are behind you 100%. My point, as always, is I made a million mistakes so you guys don't have to. I hold the right combinations and the right formulas. In my younger years, I studied film and video. I always had an eye for art. I started to write poems as another coping mechanism when the kids were small, and even before, when I was very young. And more recently, I'd become a writer. And it just so happened to create Ratio, I needed all 4 components. Being a struggling mum, being able to video and edit, being able to write, and having an eye for art. I often put myself down. What kind of mum am I? I can't even breathe. Having the idea for Ratio made me realise that not only have my kids and I made it, we did a good job along the way. I used to wonder what made them tick, so one day I asked. I gave all 6 kids a piece of paper and asked them to write down 11 things they were most grateful for. I gave all 6 kids a piece of paper and asked them to write down 11 things they were grateful for. The results were shocking. Half the population didn't even give me a mention. So please don't be alarmed if you're not on the list. We're taken for granted, and that's okay. They were mostly grateful for holidays and food. They didn't mention their devices. I thought that I was either on the right path or had they taken both their favourite things for granted. Week 4, we add other components, more challenges, and we concentrate on one-to-one with another member of the family and work on our bonds. Each family member has time with just one other to seal the bond. This stage can take a while, but it's nice to keep a log on how quickly relationships evolve. Take a few pics here and there. Share them on our Facebook page. Years ago, when I was a fresh member of Facebook, if I had seen a picture of a beached whale or a mangled dog that needed saving, I would share it, thinking that poor whale or dog would be saved. But it has a knock-on effect. Jordan, Kobe's friend, mentioned how horrified he was to see the poor beached whale and dog. So I asked myself, do I want to spoil everyone's day by sharing and having them see blood and guts, just like me, and not able to get that image out of their head? My friend had a 3-year-old having night terrors. She'd pick him up, take him into a room, either the living room or the bedroom, where there was a TV, where she'd be watching the scariest of movies. The 3-year-old continued to cry, but she didn't make the connection. Some parents don't, but we can't judge them. I asked her, does she think the horror movies are such a good idea after a nightmare? She replied, they're fine, he watches them in the day. In week 5, our final tweak week, this is where we have hit our targets and we tweak maybe for the last time. The kids play a bigger role during the last week. You will be invited to add your family fun videos, and during our last course, ratio video, be a chance to edit a video of your family fun to your favourite song, only for family viewing due to copyright limitations. Examples of family fun videos will be already for you to view on our ratio page. Please don't share due to the copyright limitations. If you are guilty of leaving out the grandparents or other members of the family, we bring them in too, as sometimes, maybe even when we visit them, some attention was mistakenly given to our devices. Explain to them about ratio, if you haven't already, and bring them on board with their own ratio. Ask what is fun for them and tweak them in. At the end of week 5, family fun will be fully installed into your family and the devices will no longer rule your lives. Before I go, I'll share a really funny but real story. As you know, I have 6 children. My 3 girls are aged 23 to 25. And I'm not a grandmother yet. My friend, who is just a few months older than me, has 4 adorable grandsons. She wished her kids to gain a degree, and she even paid for private schooling for one of them. Neither of her kids have a degree yet. Children have their own lives to lead. The best thing you could do is nudge. As soon as they feel pressure, they rebel. My kids could see that I tried so hard to gain a degree. I got into university twice against all odds and did a great job while I was there. I didn't realise that I had accidentally laid down the foundation for my kids to want to go to uni. I felt so proud when they decided for themselves. Another difference between my best friend and I was talking to my kids. When I found out, while wearing a heart monitor, that my week before she was 16 daughter was sexually active, I booked an appointment at the family planning clinic and she decided what birth control precautions she would like to use. We often had family visit us, and I would gently bring up the subject with the other 2 daughters within earshot. Okay, it maybe wasn't as gentle as it should have been. I would mention taking her down to the clinic and add, yeah, well, when the other 2's ready, I'll take them too. My poor younger daughters wished the ground would gobble them up. But it was out there. Another elephant in the room was aired. Was my heart pounding? Yes, but it was worth it. Was it worth it? Well, I guess so. I'll have grandkids when the time's right. Have you ever tried to rescue somebody? Even a family with the best intentions? It doesn't work. Rescuing doesn't work because the momentum must come from the family. My job is not to rescue your family from devices. My job is to empower your family to find its ratio. I work for you. I can't save you. I can help you perform ratio's fun tasks step by step. By being in the moment, with a great attitude, push your family's imagination will result in fun memories. Press pause in your life just for a moment and let ratio find the balance between devices and family fun for you. Have a great connection with your kids. Have an invincible family like mine. Do you feel kind of sad when it's a sunny day and the parks are empty? Or even worse, kids are sat next to each other on their smartphones and the poor kids are kind of chubby and could do with just a little playtime? Have you noticed the amount of empty playgrounds? Let's fill the empty playgrounds with happy kids and fun. The kids will notice your kids playing and they'll want to join in. This part is the hardest. Now for my confession. My kids are awesome, but there was one minor thing they just wouldn't do. It had bugged me so much that I even wrote a book about it. My kids refuse to do the dishes. They do them nowish. I wrote a whole over 110,000 word novel about my many coping mechanisms. Again, I used my imagination and created a magical realm where everything was great, where I didn't have heart disease. My kids were there too, but in creature form, as creatures don't have to do dishes. Of course, I was queen, a humble and loving one. I compared my worlds in my stories. I submitted my novel to the Author Academy elite, who described my book as riveting, intriguing and unique. Most of my tricks are squeezed into that book. How I eliminated the kids from shouting at each other and being mean and rude, and I'll give you the whole story once you sign up. The book was due to be published around now, but I put the publishing on hold. Why? Because you guys are much more important. and you guys have fun. And writing, not so much. Before I leave you, a quick update on how my small tribe is progressing. Danny is a respite worker. She works with either autistic kids or with people dealing with drug or alcohol abuse. She's doing great. Her speciality is nutrition, and she's also setting up a family nutrition course just for you guys. Akina lives in Oxford and works on a men's mental health ward. She's looking to buy a house soon. She's a writer too, and she's off to Thailand soon. Queenie models and works in a favourite restaurant. She's bubbly and happy, and she's forever helping others. She's setting up a modelling tutorial for you guys. Chabe has faced his worst fear, education, and has settled down in a newly built college within his comfort zone, with a tutor that, in his own words, speaks Chabe. Chabe has offered to mentor autistic kids that are bullied and misunderstood. Kobe is sitting his exams and doing extremely well. He is also the backbone of Ratio, especially when it comes to technology. Kobe's speciality is sports, and he's producing the Sports Academy of Ratio. Keo has over a year left in high school. As adorable as he is, being academic isn't his thing. He tries his best, and his teachers luckily show support. We all hope he does well and finds something he likes in the future. Each one of my children are a part of the Ratio team. Keo's speciality is music and rugby. Each one of my children are a part of the Ratio team and have had a lot of input to produce the Ratio online course. If you feel the need to stay with Ratio, more advanced courses are available. Here we bring Advanced Ratio, a balance between time, family and subjects. It's a 3-week more in-depth course. Just let me know and I can enrol you in the next intake. There are further more in-depth courses, including Nutrition within the Family, Ratio Ultimate, where your family will experience taster sessions from the Ratio Unique course, Ratio Ultimate Sport, for us more sporty families. We have a wide range of sports for you to choose from. Ratio Unique, tailor-made for your family, your very own family-themed Ratio course. You guys get to choose from a long list of activities which seek your family's full potential, something for every member of the family to enjoy. Lastly, Ratio Video, where your family produces its very own family music video. Ratio is unique in itself, as we are literally there supporting you every step of the way. With its 6 components, video, instruction sheet, worksheet, Facebook page, email and a call each week throughout the course. Although the follow-on courses stay the same price, you have extra valuable time with me and or the Ratio team. To keep the cost down, we've reduced the amount of weeks, whereas usually the cost of advanced courses soars. We at Ratio thought out of the box to give you more of what you want. Lastly, the price. Ratio is a course in high demand. We heard you and created a much needed family online course. To keep the numbers low and family orientated, there are limited spaces. Ratio, due to its high level of branding and technology, was initially estimated at around £900 for the whole 5 weeks, including the daily videos, instruction sheets, worksheets and many bonuses. But I had other ideas. I really wanted to impact as many families as possible and as fast as possible. So I brought it down to £750, but for limited time only. Just for you guys, today's introductory price of £497. That's under £100 per week. Before I go, I professionally packaged fun. Although the webinar is bare-boned and truthful, the graphics were a delight to produce, and the branding. The videos, I faced my worst fear. Please forgive me for looking like a panda as my son Kobe described me. I rock the panda heart disease look. It's authentic. The editing, both sound and video, were extremely time consuming, but I have made it all the way to your family against all odds, to give you the opportunity to reignite your unique family fun. Your family give me a reason to amalgamate every gift I possessed as a present for you. Please click the link below and I'll see you guys soon. Or you can just add your email to my inbox on Ratio Academy Facebook page and to receive your gifts. A creative imagination sheet for you to ignite your own family fun ratio, an alternative fun sheet full of ideas to replace some of your device time, and an instruction poem, a poem already published purely for your entertainment, written by me. Don't worry, you guys are going to be great. Hopefully you guys don't have heart disease. Hopefully you guys don't have 6 adorable kids. Hopefully you guys can breathe and have no pain. No worries if you do, because the Ratio team and I have your back every step of the way. Here are some reviews from our very first Ratio Academy students. Have fun and have a great day.